Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video I will show you how to create simple apps in ChatGPT and embedding it in Moodle. For this video I will show you how to create an app that calculates the perimeter or the area of a rectangle, the same for the square as well as the circle. So let's jump right in. In your browser, type in ChatGPT. Press enter on your keyboard. The first link that you'll see is introducing ChatGPT. You can click on that and then click on try ChatGPT. Once it's opened, you can either create an account or log in with your Google or Outlook account. Okay. Then we'll start by creating some context for our app. Remember, we are developing a app that calculates the area or the perimeter of the rectangle. So the perimeter is around and the area is within. Okay, so let's jump right in. Now in ChatGPT, I'll ask him first, let's create some context first. Okay, so please tell me, or please provide. Okay, so we'll first touch on perimeter and then we'll focus on area. Okay, so please provide me with information regarding, just do that, regarding calculating the perimeter of a, let's start with a square. Okay, so I'm asking ChatGPT, please provide me with information regarding calculating the perimeter of a square. I'll click on the aeroplane icon or I can hit enter on my keyboard. It will now provide me with some explanation on calculating the perimeter of a square. Okay, it provides me here with the square. The formula is 4 times the length of one side. Okay, so now I'm asking him, okay, please provide me with the formula. So it's more specific now. We're looking for the formula for calculating the perimeter of the square. Okay, press enter. And now it's giving us the formula for the perimeter. Okay. Now let's create some more context. Please provide 5 examples with explanations on calculating the perimeter of a square. Okay, so first we ask him, okay, a general question like calculating the perimeter information. Okay, then we move on to more specific. We're asking for the formula for calculating the square, and now we're asking for some examples. Okay, so it's giving us some examples. We asked for 5 examples. Did we ask for, yes, 5 examples? So he'll provide us with 5 examples. Okay. Please make sure that this is correct. If it's not correct, hit the dislike and it will provide a reason there. It's not true. Send feedback and it will provide you with a different solution or a more detailed solution to your question. Now you can choose. You choose the newer version is better or the original answer is better. Okay, so I'll skip this step. I'll leave it as is. And now remember, we want to develop an app. So now that we have some context here and we've trained the actual ChatGPT on the specific topic, so now we can start by asking him for the HTML, CSS and JavaScript code to develop this app. Okay, so let's ask him, please provide me with the following. Okay, and I'll specify it one by one. So first I want the HTML code for an app that calculates the perimeter of a square. Okay, so first I'm asking for the HTML code. Secondly, I'll ask for the CSS code. And I can copy this. Control C, and I'll paste it there. Okay, paste it there. And then the third one is the JavaScript. Okay, and I can just copy this here, copy, C, and paste it there. Okay, so we have the context, and ChatGPT know by now that the app will cover this. It will provide the formula as well as how to calculate the perimeter of a square. So, and we've gone into more detail on these 3 points. Okay, so now what should the app do? Okay, let's specify that the app should do the following. Okay, what should it do? Number one, it should allow users to input the values of the side. Remember, we're working with a square, so it's sides. Okay, I want to allow users to input the values. Okay, then secondly, the app should then calculate the perimeter by using the formula. Okay, so this is what the app should do. So now let's press enter on our keyboard and let's allow ChatGPT to run the code or create the code for us. Okay, the above code gets the value of the input field, calculates the perimeter using the formula for side, and display the results in the results paragraph element using the inner HTML property. Okay, so now we have our 3 files here. We have our HTML here, we have our CSS file here, and we have our JavaScript code here. Okay, so now let's go to our desktop. Right click on our desktop and create a folder. Okay, so we'll call this folder the perimeter of a square. Okay, press enter on your keyboard. Now double click on this folder here to open it. So there's my folder, perimeter of a square. Right click in any area here and create a new file. And we'll call this file index.html. Remove that txt and press enter on your keyboard. It will ask you if you're sure you want to rename it. Click on yes, and now there's our first file. Then right click again, new. Our second file will be our CSS, so this will be style.css. Remove the .txt, press enter on your keyboard, click on yes. There's our CSS file, and now again click on new text, and we'll call this is our JavaScript, so we'll call this script.js and remove the rest. Okay, so there are 3 files. Now we can open our index.html by right clicking on it and then open with Notepad. Okay, so it will open the index.html in our Notepad application. Go back to ChatGPT, scroll up to where you see your HTML code. This is my HTML code. I'll copy this. Okay, I'll minimize this again and I'll paste my HTML in here. So this is my HTML code. I'll click on save and I'll close this. Now go to your styles.css, open this with Notepad. Okay, I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll copy the CSS file. I'll minimize this and go to my Notepad. I'll paste it in there, click on file and then save and close this. I'll go to my JavaScript and open this with Notepad. I'll go to ChatGPT and the JavaScript, I'll copy the JavaScript. And I'll minimize this and I'll paste it in here. Okay, I'll click on File and then Save. And I'll close this. Now, let's look at how our app is functioning. Okay, so it says here perimeter of a square calculator, enter the length of one side. So let's make the length 6 and calculate, and now it provides us with the answer. Okay, so enter the length of one side. So one side is 6. Okay, and it says here the perimeter is 24. Okay, so very simple, but now we want to actually make it look more professional and more eye-catching. So we'll ask ChatGPT to make some changes for us. Okay. Thank you. This looks great. Okay. Now let's modify the look and the feel of our app. Okay. So please make the app more presentable, okay, by doing the following. Okay, so now I'm asking it to make the app more presentable, and now I'll specify what I mean by presentable. Okay, so number one here is, okay, so this is currently what our app looks like. I want that in blue, and then I want this to be more presentable, and I want a breakdown of this answer. So I want him to show, or I want ChatGPT to show the formula that he's using, and then substituting the actual length or the values that the user input, and then calculate the parameter. Okay, so now at number one, I'll ask him, okay, the heading should be blue, okay, and in H1, and this is usually our heading. That's number one. Number two, add an image. Oops. Add an image of a square. Now for this we need to provide the image, and we need to place the image within the same folder as our 3 files. Okay, I'll show you now. Okay, so add an image of the square. Okay. Number 3. So what we also need is to have a breakdown of this. Okay, and maybe change the color of the button. Okay, let's go. Okay, change the color of the button to, let's make it green, to a green background, and a hover state of, let's make it blue. Make the text on the button white. Okay, so let's spell button correctly. Okay, so number 4. So now we want the code for the button, and now we want the breakdown of the answer. Okay, please provide a step by step solution by first providing the formula and then substituting the input value and calculating the parameter. Okay, that's first, and formula is correct. Formula. Okay, so there we go. Let's click the aeroplane icon and see what ChatGPT provides us. Okay, so now we have an updated code. So we can copy this, go to our folder. Here's our folder, right click on index.html, open it with a notepad, and then paste your code in here. Okay, click save. I'll close this. Now for the JavaScript that was updated, open with notepad, go back to my ChatGPT app, and then go to the JavaScript and copy that, and we'll paste it in our JavaScript file. Click on File, Save, and then we'll close this. Now let's test it out. Let's double click. Okay, so now it provided us with parameter in blue. You'll see the button changes when I hover over it, and now there's an input box. So we need an image here. But this we also need to decrease in size. Okay, so let's test it out now. So let's say the length is 5. I'll calculate, and now it provides us with a breakdown, a step-by-step breakdown. First the formula, and then substituting the formula with the length here. Okay, so let's go find an image of a square. So let's type in square image, press enter. So there's square images. Let's just click on images here, okay, and find us a nice looking square. Okay, so let's take this one here. Okay, I'll click on that. Okay, I'll right click and I'll download this image. Okay, save as image as, and I'll go and save it on my desktop within the folder that we've just created. So parameter of a square, I'll double click on that, and now we can even provide a name. Okay, so let's call this square png.png. Okay, let's save it. Okay, let's close this. Now let's go back to ChatGPT. Okay, so let's tell ChatGPT, okay, now add the following. Okay, number 1, the image name is, and we'll have a look at the image name. It's called square.png. Okay, so that's the image name, and it needs to add it. Number 2, make the app more 3D like. Okay, so I want that 3D like app. Number 3, decrease the size of the, remember we want to decrease the size of this here. Okay, so we want to decrease this as well as this. Okay? So it's nicely fitted underneath the image. Okay, so it's the input box as well as the solutions. So decrease the size of the input area and the solutions area. Okay, let's leave it as is and press enter. And now we wait. So ChatGPT will provide us with an updated version of our code. So there's our image, you'll see there, square.png. And there we go. So now let's copy our HTML code. Go back to our folder. Right click on index.html, open with notepad, and we'll paste it in here. Let's save it. Close this, and then the JavaScript. Right click, open with, and then notepad. Go back to ChatGPT and copy the JavaScript. Remember, there's no changes with the CSS. Let's copy that and go back to our file, and let's paste it here. Okay, and to save it. Please remember to save it. Now let's go to our folder and see what it does. Okay, so there's our parameter of a square. There's our little image of the square. Then we can enter the length of one side. Let's do 7, and then it calculates, and then it provides us with a step-by-step solution. Okay, so it's nicely, We can even ask ChatGPT to provide us with a border all around this app. Okay. But for now, I like it like this, blue, blue, and then the white here, and then the solution here. Please test the solution. Please test if the calculations are correct. And if you're happy, we are ready to embed it in Moodle. Okay, so let's go to Moodle. This is my Moodle site. I'll log in. Okay, so I'm on my Moodle site here. I'll go to my course. I'll click on my course name. So I want to embed it somewhere here in topic 1. Okay, so let's turn editing on. There's editing on, and I'll add a resource or add an activity or resource. And for this, I'll choose the file resource. I'll click on file. I'll give it a name, and this is calculating the perimeter of a square. Okay, in here, okay, so I'll go back to my folder. So these are all my files. I have my index, I have my JavaScript, and I have my CSS, and then my image. Okay, I'll go up one level. So there it is. I'll right click and I'll click on WinRare, add to archive, and I'll choose WinZip. I'll leave the name as is. I'll click on OK. Now I will add the zip file there. So here's my perimeter of a square. Double click. And there's my zip file, perimeter of a square. I'll open this and upload this. Okay, so there's my file. I'll click on it once, then I'll unzip it within this upload box here. I'll delete the zipped file, click OK, and now I'm sitting with one folder here. Okay, I'll click once on the folder, and these are all my files: index, JavaScript, CSS, and then the image. I'll click on index.html, and then I'll set it to my main file. That's that. In my appearance, I'll click on embed, scroll down. In the activity, I can choose do not indicate activity completion. I'll save this and display. Okay, so there's my app nicely embedded here. So now learners can play with this and actually increase their understanding in calculating the perimeter of a square. So they can add values in here. So let's say it's 3, calculate, and it will provide them with the calculations, a step-by-step solution to the answer. Okay, so next up is our area of a square. Okay, so let's do that. So let's go to ChatGPT. Okay. Thank you. Now let's create some. We can either do it in this chat or we can create a new chat. I'm suggesting that you keep the topic in the same chat. Okay, so this topic was about the calculating the perimeter. So let's leave this topic as is and we'll create a new topic. Okay, so I'll ask ChatGPT. Okay, please explain how to calculate the area of a square. Okay, press enter on my keyboard. So this is just for creating some context. Okay, the next one I'll ask him, okay, so please provide the formula for calculating the area of a square. Okay, I'll press enter. So now it provides us with a formula, and then now the next step is, okay, so please provide me with some examples. Let's make it 2 examples on how to calculate the area of a square. Okay, let's enter. And now it provides us with example 1. There's my formula. Substitute the formula with the values and then provide me with an answer. Okay, nicely done. So now we have some context of how to calculate the area of a square. And now we'll start with the deeper questions. Okay, please provide me with the following. Okay, and now I'll specify it one by one. Okay, an app that calculates the area of a square. Okay, to allow users to add a value and then do the calculations. Number 3, provide the formula for calculating the area of a square, and then substituting the formula with real values. Okay, number, let's see, I've spelled substitute and real values there. Okay, so number 4, make the app more 3D. Okay, so that's that. I'll press enter on my keyboard and now ChatGPT will start writing the code. Okay, so it says here, as an AI language, I'm able to create apps for a graphical user interface, but I'm suggesting how an app and Okay, now we've missed something here. I want the HTML, the JavaScript, and the CSS here. So let's, if you want to modify a question, okay, so let's click on the pencil icon, and now you can modify this. So instead of number 1 there, I'll press number 1 here and say, please provide me with the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript for this app. Okay, let's save it and see. Okay, immediately ChatGPT starts populating the HTML, the CSS, as well as the JavaScript. Okay, there we go. Okay, now you'll see that I have HTML here, CSS, but I also have here some HTML and here some CSS, but I don't want that. Okay, so I'll ask ChatGPT, please provide me with the complete HTML code, CSS, and JavaScript code for this app. Okay, so I don't want it in snippets, I want the full code. Okay, so there's my full code. Okay, completed code. So now let's go to our desktop. Right click on our desktop, new folder. Okay, we'll call this the area of a square. Press enter on your keyboard, double click, and now let's create our need 3 files. The one file will be our index.html, index.html. Remove the txt, press enter, yes. Right click, new file, text file. This will be our CSS, so it's called style.css. Remove the .txt, press enter on your keyboard, yes. And then new text document, call this the script.js, and remove the txt, press enter on our keyboard, yes. So let's open the HTML file with Notepad. So there's my HTML file. I'll go back to ChatGPT. I'll copy the HTML, make sure that it's the correct HTML. I'll copy this, minimize, and I'll paste it in here. I'll save this. and I'll go close this. I'll open my styles.css, open it. I'll go back to ChatGPT. I'll copy the CSS, go back, I'll paste it in here, click on File and Save. I'll close it here. And then lastly, for my JavaScript, I'll open this in Notepad, go to ChatGPT, and then copy my JavaScript. Minimize and then paste it. File, save. Let's close. Okay, so let's run our app and see what it does. Okay, so here we have the area of a square with a calculator. Enter the length of one side. I'll choose 4. Let's make it 3. Calculate. It will calculate the area. Okay, so it's 3 times 3. It's 9 units. Okay, so now let's allow ChatGPT to provide us with a more professional or more visually appealing app. Okay, thank you. So what we need something like this, where we have, let's close that. Okay, so where we have like something like this. Okay, so here we used we calculated the perimeter, but now we want the area. Okay, so we need to find the same image. So in our folder, remember on our desktop, in our folder, the perimeter of a square, we have that image there. So let's copy that image. I'll copy that and I'll go back and I'll paste it in my surface area, sphere, nope, my area of a square. I'll paste it in there. Okay, so now we have the image. Remember the image name there, square.png. Okay, so let's go back to ChatGPT. Okay, use the following image, and I'll put it in inverted commas. Okay, so there's my image. Did I copy this? Let's just go back to my folder. I'll call this, that's the square. Okay, so I'll just copy this. Go back to ChatGPT. So it's square.png. Okay, that's that. Then also we want ChatGPT to actually show the heading is there. Underneath the heading will be the image, and then the formula, and then this. Okay, so also make the heading, let's make it red for this exercise. Just underneath the heading, add the image. Okay, I'll specify the image name again. Okay, then just underneath the image, add the formula for calculating the area of a square. Okay, and then just so we'll have our heading there, we'll have our image in between here, and then we'll have underneath the image we'll have the formula. Okay, and then this can follow, and then this. Okay, but now I want a step-by-step breakdown of this. How do ChatGPT calculate that? Okay, so now please also provide a step-by-step solution to the answer. So let's just make step correct. Okay, step by step. Okay, to the a step-by-step solution to the question. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so what does it say? The color there is red, HTML code there. Okay, so here's the updated code with the changes. So this will be the updated code. So let's copy this. I'll copy that. I'll go to my HTML file. So there's my HTML file. I'll open this with Notepad and I'll paste the HTML here. Okay, I'll remove this and paste this there. Click on File and then Save, Close, double click on my app. Okay, so there we go. Area of square calculator. There's the square. This is my formula that I'm using, and this will be where you enter where you provide the input. So let's make it 6, calculate. So still not a breakdown of this. Let's tell ChatGPT to actually provide us with a breakdown of this. Okay, so let's close this and this and this. Go back to ChatGPT. Please provide a step-by-step solution by doing the following. Okay, so let's specify what we want him to do. Number 1, okay. First, provide the formula. And secondly, substitute the formula with the actual values, or must I say input value, and then do the calculations and provide the answer. Okay, let's hit enter and see what ChatGPT comes up with. Okay, so now the formula that we need to add is this, and I'll ask him, please provide the complete code. Okay, so now he will provide us with a complete HTML, the complete CSS, and the complete JavaScript code. Okay, so let's go back. Let's copy this. Go to our folder. So there's our folder. Right click, open with, and then Notepad, and replace this with the updated code. Okay, file save. Let's close this. Go to our style sheet. Open it with Notepad. Go back to ChatGPT and copy this CSS. Go to our Notepad and we'll remove this. So let's remove that and paste it and save it. Okay, back, and then for our JavaScript, we'll do the JavaScript. There's our JavaScript. Open with Notepad. And we will remove this and then paste. File, save, close, and now let's run it. Okay, so now we have area of a square, it's in red, our square, our formula. Then we can add some values. Let's choose 5, calculate. The area of a square with a length side of 5 units is 25 square units. Okay, so yeah, I'm not really happy with this, but okay, it will go for now. And this is how easy it is to actually guide ChatGPT to develop or to provide you with the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code for your app. Okay, so let's embed this in Moodle. I'll go back to my Moodle site and I'll go back to the course. Okay, so let's go back. So here's my course and I want to add it here. I'll click on add an activity resource. I'll choose file, and this is calculating the area. Calculating the area of a square. Okay, so there's my calculations. Let's go to our folder. Remember, we need to zip this. Let's go up. I'll zip this file by clicking on Add to Archive. I'll select Zip, click OK, and now we have our file. So now we can open it, choose a file. Let's go to our area of a square, open it, upload it, and there's our file. Let's click on it, unzip, click on it again, and delete the zipped file, the zipped folder. Click on this once, click on index.html, set it to main file, scroll down, we'll choose embed here, scroll down. I usually leave this do not indicate, but you can choose otherwise. I'll click on save and display, and this would load our app. Okay, so there's our app, and it will do the calculations. Maybe you can change the actual look and feel of this app when you have time, but for now this will do. If you find some time, you can alter this to actually show a more presentable view of the app, but for now I hope this video was helpful, and this is how easy it is to use ChatGPT to develop these apps for you, which you can embed in Moodle and allow students to actually engage with the content and see how it's been calculated. Okay.